Hello and welcome to the news on NTAi International. I am Dennis Adigunloye. The headlines. World leaders eulogize Pope Francis as Pontiff is laid to rest inside his favorite Rome church. World Bank IMF Spring Meeting. Vice President Kashim Shettima calls for stronger international collaboration to advance Nigeria's Human Capital Development 2.0 strategy. And federal government plans to implement system to significantly reduce post-harvest losses and food waste in Nigeria. Pope Francis has been buried inside his favorite Rome church after a funeral mass in St. Peter's Square held on Saturday. Chukwunonso Nwabweze reports that dozens of world leaders attended the service, during which Francis was eulogized as a pontiff who knew how to communicate with the less privileged and urged people to build bridges, not walls.
After a journey through Rome, the coffin of the late Pope was brought to the Basilica of St. Mary Major, or Church of Santa Maria Maggiore, for burial. Hundreds of thousands of Catholic faithful crowded both St. Peter's Square and the streets of the Italian capital to bid farewell to the late pontiff. Pope Francis, who died on Monday, aged 88, was laid to rest during a 30-minute ceremony. Cardinal Kevin Farrell, who, as Calamengo, is running the Vatican's day-to-day affairs until a new pope is elected, sprinkled the coffin with holy water after it was lowered into a tomb set inside an alcove. Francis had asked that the tomb located near the altar of St. Francis be simple and unadorned, reflecting the humble spirit of his papacy. The late pontiff had specified in his will the exact spot he wanted to be buried, in the side nave of the beloved 5th century AD church. The pontiff was devoted to the worship of the Virgin Mary and made a point of praying in Santa Maria Maggiore before leaving on trips abroad and upon his return to Rome. He declared his desire to be entombed there in 2023. Located in the heart of Rome, the Basilica already hosts the tombs of 7 popes. In his funeral homily delivered before thousands of mourners, the Dean of the College of Cardinals, Giovanni Battista Re, recalls Pope Francis' countless efforts for refugees, reminding all of Pope's call to build bridges and not walls. Dozens of world leaders and dignitaries, including Donald Trump, Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine, Prince William, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, as well as French President Emmanuel Macron, joined an estimated 250,000 mourners, with 50,000 inside St. Peter's Square. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu was represented at the solemn event by a delegation led by President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio. Chukwunonso Nwabweze, NTN News.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has called for stronger international collaboration to advance Nigeria's Human Capital Development 2.0 strategy. He made the call while attending a virtual high-level roundtable on the sidelines of the 2025 World Bank IMF Spring Meetings. State House correspondent Abdulrahman Jibrila reports.
The success of the HCD 2.0 hinges on data-driven, evidence-based interventions and sustained political will. Vice President Kashim Shettima reaffirmed the commitment of the Tinubu administration to position human potential at the heart of national development. The HCD 2.0 program is designed to elevate Nigeria's human capital index and equip Nigeria to face both national and global challenges, including climate change and digital transformation. The Vice President pointed out that the meeting was necessitated by the urgency to invest in the Nigerian people and by the recognition that true national wealth is found not in natural resources but in human potential.
The story of HCD 2.0 is a story that would have been told differently without each of you here. This is why we must stand together as partners and refuse to be held hostage by the accidents of history that have stalled the promise of this great nation. We are more than excited to compare notes with the rest of the world, and we are grateful to the World Bank and all stakeholders for sharing our ambition. 1 out of every 4 black men is a Nigerian. And by 2050, Nigeria will be the third most populous nation on earth. Our population will reach 440 million.
The Nigerian Vice President also reaffirmed the administration's resolve to remain transparent and result-oriented to achieve measurable outcomes, calling on the World Bank and other development partners to support the availability of disaggregated state-level human capital index data to enable more targeted interventions.
We have the potential, but we need to translate those potentials into realities. We need your support. We need your partnership, a partnership that works on a pedestal of mutual respect and anchored on maturity and togetherness.
The World Bank representatives at the meeting committed to strengthening the bank's partnership with Nigeria to improve the country's human capital index and proposed senior-level stakeholders' engagement to identify optimal areas for technical support. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, NTAi News.
Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Cardoso, have emphasized Nigeria's robust policy framework, combining fiscal and monetary measures to manage inflation and economic shocks effectively. This formed some of the highlights of their joint press briefing on Nigeria's participation at the 2025 IMF World Bank meeting in Washington, D.C. Lydia Sampson reports.
Global economic growth is slowing sharply to 2.3% in 2025, signaling a recessionary trend driven by escalating trade tensions, policy uncertainty, and financial market volatility. Business confidence is eroding, investment is delayed, and finance costs are rising, increasing risks for developing economies and global markets alike. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, and the CBN Governor noted that coordinated actions between fiscal authorities and the central bank have been critical in anchoring market expectations and maintaining investor confidence despite persistent global uncertainties.
We have had conversations which have encouraged us in the fact that both at the World Bank and at the IMF at the highest levels, they have seen it fit to point out that Nigeria is on the right path in terms of its monetary policy, in terms of its fiscal policy.
Our delegation used the meetings as a platform to spotlight Nigeria's bold economic reforms and explore further measures to enhance macroeconomic stability, strengthen our financial system, and drive inclusive growth for all Nigerians.
Cardoso unveiled the Nigerian Foreign Exchange Code aimed at enhancing transparency and accountability in the foreign exchange market, a key step in stabilizing the economy. The Minister of Finance underscored ongoing reforms and interventions, including support for agriculture and small businesses, which have helped cushion the impact of global disruptions on Nigeria's economy. They acknowledged the challenges posed by external shocks such as commodity price volatility and inflationary pressures, but expressed optimism about Nigeria's growth prospects due to strategic policy responses and economic diversification efforts. The briefing reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to sustaining economic stability through prudent management and collaboration between monetary and fiscal authorities, ensuring the country navigate global headwinds with resilience and sustained investor confidence. While they emphasized the importance of domestic revenue mobilization, their optimism resonated with Chairman Senate Committee on Finance Sani Musa, who praised Nigeria's resilience amid global economic turbulence. From Washington, D.C., Lydia Sampson, NTAi News.
In other news, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo have signed an agreement to respect each other's sovereignty and come up with a draft peace deal by 2nd of May 2025. And Syria calls on the UN Security Council to pressurize Israel to withdraw from its territory. Chukwunonso Nwabweze reports.
In a declaration signed in Washington, D.C., with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio presiding, foreign ministers of the DR Congo and Rwanda made a commitment to coordinate through existing channels to generate an initial draft peace agreement for their mutual review, not later than May 2nd, 2025.
We signed this declaration of principles not as a symbolic gesture, but as a political commitment, a reaffirmation of principles enshrined in international law, and most recently echoed in the UN Security Council Resolution 2773, a resolution calling for the immediate, unconditional, and verifiable withdrawal of all foreign troops from sovereign territory of the DRC.
Our common aim is to conclude a comprehensive peace agreement as soon as possible. But there are no shortcuts or quick fixes, and we have to do the hard work to get it done right, once and for all. Rwanda is committed, and we are ready to continue working together with all the partners involved to ensure the success of this initiative.
DR Congo accuses Rwanda of arming the M23 and sending troops to support the rebels in the conflict. Despite assertions from both the UN and US, Rwanda has denied supporting the M23. In other news, Syria's foreign minister has called on the United Nations Security Council to put pressure on Israel to withdraw from its territory following the toppling of former President Bashar al-Assad. Assad al-Shabani, in his first address at UN headquarters in New York, said his country has repeatedly announced its commitment not to constitute any threat to any of the neighboring countries or any country around the world, including to Israel. Al-Shabani was backed by the UN's Special Envoy to Syria, Geir Pedersen.
Israel must withdraw and respect Syria's sovereignty, territorial integrity, unity, and independence.
The foreign minister also called for the lifting of all sanctions imposed on Syria under the previous government.
We remain hopeful that the interim cabinet announced by the interim authorities at the end of March represents a positive step. However, we expect to see additional action and the appointment of more qualified and representative individuals to serve in critical positions.
Economic sanctions have hit the country hard, with more than 90% of Syrians living below the poverty line, according to United Nations reports. Chukwunonso Nwabweze, NTAi News.
Elsewhere, Indian and Pakistani troops exchanged gunfire for a second straight day after gunmen killed 26 people in Indian-administered Kashmir's Pahalgam earlier this week, with India blaming Pakistan for the attack. Pakistan's PM Sharif says that the country is ready to defend its sovereignty but is open to a neutral international investigation into the attack. Reports say India has issued a media ban on military hunt for the Pahalgam attackers, and Indian authorities have cited the interest of national security in declaring a ban on live coverage of large-scale military and security operations. Meanwhile, scores of people have been injured following a massive explosion and fire at the Iranian port city of Bandar Abbas, more than 1,000 kilometers or 620 miles south of the capital Tehran, according to officials and state media. Iran's customs authority said in a statement that Saturday's explosion occurred in the Sina container yard, which is affiliated with the Ports and Maritime Organization. According to the Iranian Emergency Service, more than 500 people were injured in the explosion, downgrading the number of casualties as earlier reported. Iranian state television said initial reports indicate negligence in the storage of flammable materials at the site. Mehrad Hassanzadeh, director of Hormozgan's Province Crisis Management Organization, told state television that the injured have been transferred to medical facilities. All right, let's take a short break. More reports in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. Muslims have been urged to look out for the new moon of Zulqa'dah 1446 after Hijrah on Sunday, 27th April, which corresponds to the 29th day of Shawwal of 1446 after Hijrah. A statement by the Chairman Advisory Committee on Religious Affairs, Professor Sambo Ali Junedu Waziri Sokoto, requested Muslims to search for the new crescent. It urged them to report any sightings to their nearest district or village head for onward communication to the Sultan of Sokoto and President General, Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Mohammed Sa'ad Abubakar. In line with the renewed hope agenda of empowering women, First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has empowered 500 women in Bayelsa State with household items to make them self-reliant and to contribute their quota to the state and the country's economy. Dankume Lolo reports that wife of the Bayelsa State Governor, Dr. Gloria Diri, distributed these items on behalf of the First Lady.
The Renewed Hope initiative of the federal government has continued the empowerment of women in the south-south region of the country. This time, the Bayelsa State has taken its turn with empowerment packages including deep freezers, standing gas cookers, ovens, grinding machines, and generating sets being distributed to the women. Beneficiaries thanked the First Lady for the gesture and promised to utilize the items judiciously.
I feel very, very happy. This is a very big miracle. On Sunday, I'm going to the church and testify because I have a borehole that there is no generator to use. So I'm here with my new generator that I'm going home today. May the God bless our mama.
I want to thank God for everything, and I want to thank the First Lady of Nigeria for making it possible for us to have this wonderful empowerment. We never thought of it, but it came to pass today. I want to say may God bless her, replenish her, and make her to do more for us.
Representative of the First Lady of Nigeria and wife of Bayelsa State Governor, Dr. Gloria Diri, expressed gratitude to Senator Oluremi Tinubu for the support to women in Bayelsa State and appealed to the women not to sell the items but to add value to their lives.
So the beneficiaries of this empowerment program, I encourage you to use these resources judiciously to grow your business. Let these items serve as a foundation for creating a better life for yourselves and your families. I hope and pray that what you receive today will prosper in your hands.
Representative of the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, Abubakar Aruna, commended Senator Oluremi Tinubu for her visionary leadership and unwavering dedication to improving the lives of women across the country. He said the Renewed Hope initiative will continue to serve as a beacon of employment and economic transformation for the people.
We remain resolute in our commitment to women's economic empowerment as a key driver of sustainable development. This initiative directly aligns with SDG 1, that is no poverty, SDG 5, gender equality, SDG 8, decent work and economic growth.
The empowerment is a testament towards uplifting the standards of women in the country to enable them become outstanding businesswomen. In Yenegwa, Yanukume Ulolo, NTAi News.
The federal government plans to implement a system that will significantly reduce post-harvest losses and food waste in the country. This came to light during the second post-harvest summit hosted by the federal government in Abuja. Musa Baba Aliu reports.
A good yield is often attributed to farmers' hard work, dedication, and investment. However, this goal may not be fully realized if the harvest is poorly handled, resulting in significant waste of produce. In Nigeria, approximately 40% of harvested produce is wasted during and after harvest.
You see, we are losing close to 3 trillion naira annually as a nation. And up to now, we are yet to solve the problem of post-harvest.
This summit, organized by the Nigerian Stored Products Research Institute, aims to address the challenges of food waste caused by inadequate post-harvest handling. Experts drawn from across the food production value chain in the country lament the high incidence of food waste. They also showcased new technologies and innovation for handling crops before and after harvest.
There are quite a lot of solutions, not only from Nigerian Stored Product Research Institute. Other research institutes have solutions. And what we are trying to do now is how could we harmonize and gather everything together to be able to scale out.
The conference also explored Nigeria's potential in cassava production, focusing on strategies to add value and reduce post-harvest losses.
Nigeria is the largest producer by almost 45%. Everybody knows about cassava. And of course, if we can be able to focus on our challenges and then outline all this using the data management system or the integrated data management system, we're going to make sure we're going to have all these post-harvest losses to a barest minimum achieved.
A representative of the President of the Senate unveiled a dashboard showcasing progress in modern technology and innovation for post-harvest management.
Conferences and exhibitions like this should be taken to the farmers in the grassroots, where they can see, feel, hear practically and firsthand the losses incurred by our farmers in their rural communities and also seek their opinions on the way forward.
The Nigerian Stored Products Research Institute is tasked with researching post-harvest handling and stored issues related to agricultural commodities in order to reduce losses and improve food security. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTAi News.
A driver has sustained severe injuries after a fully loaded truck fell off the Agege Pen Cinema Bridge on Saturday. The truck, with registration number DD523, fell from the bridge and landed on two mini commercial buses. The driver was given immediate medical attention and transported to the nearest hospital. Vehicles involved in the accident have been recovered by the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, while spilled contents from the truck have also been cleared from the road to the lay-by and placed in the custody of police officers at the scene. Normal vehicular activities have since resumed. Now, in a significant development for Nigerian badminton, the president of the Badminton Federation of Nigeria, Francis Orbi, has been elected as a member of the Badminton World Federation Council. This remarkable achievement not only highlights Orbi's dedication and contributions to the growth of badminton in Nigeria and Africa, but also marks a proud moment for the entire Nigerian sporting community. His election into the BWF Council places Nigeria firmly on the global badminton map and is expected to open new doors for the development of the sport across the continent. His new role at the BWF will enable him to influence key decisions affecting the future of badminton globally. And with that, we conclude the news on NTAi International. Many thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adigunloye.